All right, I think I'm live. What is up, guys? Andrew here, and welcome to Comicbooker. All things comics from a creator. So let's get situated here for a second. I flipped things around on OBS a bit just to get a better view on things. I have a new webcam. I don't know if this is clearer, but let's see who's here. What's up, Silver Phantom LX? Happy Sunday. Hope you're down to draw. I am working on my graphic novel. You can see some pages up there in thumbnails, and I am on page 5. And right now I have this line work all done and ready to go. I also have page 6 ready to go. So I'm gonna try to do kind of a watercolor style, which is what I've been trying to do with this scene. I am using Max U Lickney's. Am I pronouncing his name right? I hope I am. I'm using Max U Lickney's watercolor brush set for Procreate, and that's what we're gonna do this afternoon. Hope you're all having a good one so far. My layer structure's here. It's all fixed. So first thing I'm gonna try to do is get a giant thank you, Silver Phantom. I have been maybe over rendering it a little bit more than I expected to, but you know, you can't help how the pages come out sometimes. As much as you try to control it, like your your personality comes through, it makes the art come out a certain way. So I'm okay with it being a little more rendered than I anticipated, but the only downside to that is it's taking more time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a big wash down, and I'm looking for a brush that can give me something that's nice and strong in that thing. Maybe flood rich. Let's do that. And I think something along the lines of this should be better. Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna lower the opacity a bit because that color's a bit too intense, but I think that's gonna be good to start. Whoops. Let me do it again. So the important thing here is just to get, some tone down and have a good starting point to work from. What I'm doing here is I'm filling the main background with all of this stuff. And then I'm gonna go in and start blending stuff in. And I'm gonna work over that as a giant piece. I'm trying to treat it like watercolor, so let's just mop this up a little bit, a little less grainy. And I think some lightness up here and some lightness down here is gonna serve us well. Just to give the page some dynamics. And next up, we're gonna start erasing into it. And the erasure is gonna mimic masking. There's this thing we do when we do traditional watercolors, which is you put like gum arabic or a certain liquid on the paper before you throw a wash down, and that's gonna mask it out of that's gonna protect the paper so that the whites are preserved. It's not fully flooded with other colors, and that's how you get like a nice big wash. Um, I'm sort of doing it in reverse here. I am masking out the... I'm using the eraser brush in Procreate to create that mask, but it has the same effect, which is... There's still a little bit of texture you can see here underneath, and that's going to serve us well when we go into the actual colors. And the reason I'm going with this watercolor style is, this is this is practically the start of the graphic novel, but it's a very, very early point in the timeline of the protagonist. And I want it to feel very warm and safe and cozy and nostalgic. So that's why we're doing this. I find watercolors to like give this really nice naturalistic vibe. And doing it on Procreate makes it faster too. I don't have to do too many transfers, and I can just let it go back and forth with the colors, control it a bit more. Anyway, this is like the first time I've streamed at this time on a Sunday, and I actually don't know if anyone, I mean, apart from you, Silver Phantom, I don't know if anyone's on at this time, but this is what was convenient for me today. But I also know from like my past live streams, people tend to watch these out of sync. Like, they don't watch them live. Sometimes they just watch them later on. So anyway, even if we're not watching at we're not drawing at the same time, I hope you're drawing something really cool right now. So what I'm doing is I'm working on the main panel first, this guy here. And then we're gonna mask out the smaller panels and go into them later. But I feel like the main panel has to read well so that it can connect up with the previous page. This is also a big panel, like emotionally, because it's where the kid asks the dad whether it's okay to be an artist when he grows up. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. The graphic novel is about making art and what that does to you. So that's one of the major themes. So I'm using that in this piece. This is like where we really dig into that conflict. And it's gonna carry through from this page onward to the next 40 plus pages. All right, this panel's looking good so far. And it's only been 10 minutes. I swear, guys, when I do these live streams, I feel like I work a lot faster than I normally do. I don't know, there's something about, I guess, sitting stationary in front of a webcam with no reference that really focuses you. I don't know. Whoops. Let's just blend that in. Whoops. I keep doing that by accident. There we go. All right, and these are the main points of focus. Now I'm gonna select all of the main panels and I'm gonna delete it from the wash. And that should give us a nice clear opening. I'm gonna do this thing called a reference layer where it creates a floating window, and I'm gonna import the previous page there so I can have the colors for reference, and this way I'm gonna select colors from it. It's just gonna make it easier and faster to do stuff. So we'll do that, and I'm gonna do this. Where am I gonna flow detail? There we go. Flow around. Silver Phantom LX is asking, do you have any books done already? I do. I have uh I don't know how to describe it. It's a graphic novel called Kare Kare Comics. Oh my god, I think I have it here somewhere. I'm not sure. Give me a sec, let me get it. Oh, here it is. This is my first book. It won the National Book Award in 2016 in the Philippines. And it's a collection of short stories in different comic styles. Like, and they all kind of link up to form this giant narrative. I am toying with the idea of re-releasing it this year because it's currently out of print, and you can only buy like older copies in the Philippines. So I'm thinking of coming up with a new printing for this year since I'm planning to have a table at Comic-Con and everything. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. We'll see. It's a cost question if I can afford it, because printing's expensive and all this other stuff. But if I can get it together this year, because I want to print this book. I want to self-publish this book, and if I have extra money, I'm gonna do a second printing, or I guess it's a third printing now, of the Kara Kara Comics book as well. And that way I can have two books when I table at Comic-Con. It's gonna be nice. I should probably do colors for these other panels too if I'm gonna start doing flesh tones. I went too fast. All right, let's throw some colors down there. I'm gonna do a selection here. Boom. I think that's gonna be cool. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't want the wash to just be like pink all through. So we're gonna do we're gonna mess with the wash a bit. Whoops. And we're gonna do something like this. All right. I think that's it. So I think it's better if I clear it, right? And then, actually, give me a sec. Let's do that. It's probably better. And I'm gonna put a blue there. This blue. It's gonna look good, I think. We're gonna do a flat flood like that. There we go. That part doesn't matter too much. I'm gonna put some color here. I'm not gonna use the flood brush for that. I'm gonna use a detail brush for that. There we go. RIP missed it. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's I am in between books right now. I'm sort of like, I was kind of off the grid for a long time because I was working on my certificate in fine arts, and that became my main focus. I also had a lot of restrictions which prevented me from, doing comics professionally here in the US, and that's only changed recently. So now that that's changed, I'm coming back to it, and we'll have some books ready by the end of the year. It won't be too long, hopefully. Let's erase up here. I'm gonna just keep it a little loose because I think it looks nicer when the appeal of watercolor is the mistakes. I think where you kind of let it just do its thing. So the more I can just leave it be, the better. All right, I think that looks good. Now we're gonna hit these guys here. Whoop. And clear. Let's do this again. Clear. Boom. All right. Okay, we're cooking. So now that's looks like that. Now I can throw this up here. Let's merge this down. Whoops. And we can also just make it a little. And we can also throw that blue down here. And you'll notice as I'm doing this, it's just, I'm going block by block. It doesn't pay to go too fast and get too excited with this technique because you want to layer from lightest to darkest. With oil painting, you're usually working from dark to light. Like the highlight is the last thing you're gonna put on there. And usually you're grounding the canvas in a middle tone. But with watercolors, it's usually the reverse. You're working from the lightest light, which is the white of the paper, to a dark. So the mentality has to shift a little bit. I kind of like that bloom effect, so we're gonna keep some of it here. If I can keep that up there. Oop. There we go. All right. There's something like super appealing about that. And now that I'm doing this, I'm already starting to see like a warm, cool pattern starting to form. So from a color perspective, it's my page is starting to really get its own color structure, warm, cool. Let's put some more of this here. I'm gonna throw shadows in. Like a soft wash of some shadows. There we go. Might as well do the same up here. And I'm really happy because I was thoughtful and I drew my panels on a separate layer. So now I can kind of automatically select them to do these blocks. It just makes everything faster. All right, let's do that. And let's do a warm sort of orange. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. Yeah, I learned so much in art school. It was a revelation. It was a really good experience. I had wanted to study fine arts for a long time, but I didn't get to do it until I came to the Art Students League here in New York. That was a major change to the way I live, but also a major change to the way I thought. So it was really worthwhile. Okay, so we're looking really good. My only thing is, I think I don't like that these are, I'm gonna do a clipping mask here, and I'm gonna do a color layer here. And I'm gonna put a red down here. Or pink. That'll give me a bit of a gradient, which I think is more appealing. There we go. Kind of a purple wash change there. Merge down. And the last panel is the only thing left. What I really want to do is, so I think this should be kept as sort of light as possible, but the floor itself should be kind of a warm. So let's see if I can do that properly. There we go. Boom. Okay. All right, we're in business. Now I'm gonna merge all these layers together. And I'm gonna start doing that erase thing I was doing a while ago. And just get in there and make sure everything is masked out. And I don't mind if it's a little messy here and there, because as I mentioned, like, the mess is part of the charm. and we're gonna put colors over it anyway, so it's gonna just blend in eventually. The other reason for the watercolor style is I'm gonna be doing an art style shift couple of pages down the line, so and that's gonna be shift back to like more of the sheeny shiny comic book coloring style that you've seen on some of my other illustrations. So I need this to be like a major contrast to that. Do, 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 do. It took me forever to draw this page. It took me more time to draw this page than it looks. I think partially because I was really stuck on whatchamacallit. I was stuck on the storytelling aspect. Like I was laying it out a lot. And you know, if you can't get your layouts done, you can't just move on to drawing. So yeah, that took me a while to figure out. Worth it though. I think it's a strong page this way. It also, I mean, I really like the page that preceded this because it's more technically flashy. You know, you've got the hands here holding a page, and then it's sort of like bleeding into another panel. But that page doesn't do as much work as this page, which is, you know, a lot of acting, a lot of dialogue. Oh, and if you're curious, I actually already have all the dialogue here. I kind of laid out the page with the dialogue in mind, so it's you can see them forming kind of a pattern where I'm going to be able to letter them once I'm done coloring all of this. Just turn it off while I'm doing all this work. I'm a little behind on my schedule for the book. I had planned to be done with 8 pages by the end of March, and this is page 5. So, and you know, I'm gonna be done with page 5 and 6 probably by the end of March, but I don't know if I'm gonna hit 8 by then. It's gonna be a little tricky to kind of catch up on my schedule. But I'm gonna have to sort of find places to cut corners. Otherwise, I'm not gonna make it in time for printing. I think if you're drawing a comics page, the thing that slows you down the most is the number of figures on the page. The more figures you have to draw, the slower it is. At least in my experience. So, you know, it's not so much about number of panels, but number of figures. I think, too, it depends on the style. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious, but if you're if you've chosen an art style that's more simple, might speed up your workflow. But if it's more detail oriented, it's going to be tricky. Like, I'm already laying out page 7 over here, and it's going to be a big sort of landscape drawing. So that's going to take me a little longer than I want, but can't help it. It's a story. You have to do what the story requires. The funny thing too is this is really the the quieter part of the novel. I probably should have picked like a more exciting page to stream, but this is what I had today on my desk today, so this is what we're gonna work with. But later on there's gonna be like ridiculous things going on that I'm gonna enjoy. I'm gonna do like there are gonna be some like Kirby homage pages. So I'm gonna do a lot of Kirby dots and like Picasso style like rendering. I'm also gonna do whoops. Wait, let me do that again. I'm also gonna do a bit of a Spawn homage, like Todd McFarlane's Spawn. And obviously some X-Men stuff. Just like little winks and nods here and there. Nothing copyright infringing. But this is a bit of an autobiography, so like a little bit of an autobiography. It's not 100%, true to life, but it's close. So I'm gonna end up putting my obsessions in here, like the stuff I love: comics, X-Men comics, Batman stuff. The things I used to draw when I was a little kid. Superman. There's gonna be some Superman stuff in here. Superman, Marvel Man, Shazam. As you can see from this character here, who's sort of a Supermanish, Shazamish character. It's the character that the dad draws. He's gonna come back in a big way later on. Okay, so I've done the masking. We're ready to go into flesh tones. Let's start with this. Whoops. It goes faster from here on. Hopefully. Oh, 1 second. Give me a sec. Mm-mm-mm-mm. All right. So I don't like that blue there. Let's. Don't like how this is looking. So let's redo that a little bit. All right. We're gonna make this a. We're gonna make this a flat, thick brush that will just obliterate everything under it, and that will just make this whole thing faster, more controllable. There we go. Okay. Now that that's clean, let's do this. There we go. So the technique for this is I'm gonna lay down very flat colors for all the flesh tones. And by very flat, I mean, I'm just gonna lay it down in one go and let the brush sort of give it natural texture over to it. And then later on, I'm gonna come in with some shadows. If you see the tiny thumbnail of the previous page there, you're gonna see some sort of grayish bluish shadows that are on a separate layer. That's what I'm gonna throw in. Boom. I see you are a DC fan. Batman best hero. Batman forever, my friend. I'm a big fan. I love Batman. I love the Batverse, the Bat universe. My favorite run is Grant Morrison's run on Batman, which was like 6 years. It included Batman and Robin, Batman R.I.P. Incorporated, and Return of Bruce Wayne and Final Crisis, and a whole other stuff. I also like the recent James Tynion Batman run where he introduced all these new characters like Ghostmaker and Punchline. I really like that. I thought it really captured the spirit of the 90s really well. All that energy, which I think had been missing with a lot of these runs, which do sort of like a greatest hit style of storytelling. We're just gonna choose the best and then bring them back out, which is cool, once in a while. But also, it gets old if you're always fighting the Joker over and over. You want new characters. So yeah, I like the last run on Batman because it so readily contributed new characters and ideas to the mythos. I really like that. But yeah, I'm also excited for Chip Zdarsky's upcoming run on Batman. That he wrote a Batman urban legend story starring the Red Hood and Batman. It was a really good character study. It just came out last year. And I just think he'd be a great writer for Batman. He is currently writing Daredevil for Marvel, and it is also like one of my favorite runs on Daredevil in a long time. It captures sort of the grit of the Frank Miller era really well. Ooh, okay, so this page is coming together. All the flesh tones are ghosting in. We're seeing some blending between the bluish and pink washes and the flesh tone washes, which is exactly what I want. Because it'll feel like real watercolors. Mask out some of those eyes. I would sincerely love to write and draw a Batman story someday. That'd be super great. There's an army of people who've written and drawn Batman stories, and they're all so good. It'd just be so cool to be a part of that legacy, and contribute. So I don't know what the story would be, but but if I got it, I would do my best. Like I would give it my all. Oh wait, I think I have a. Sorry, let's take a quick break from the page, and I think I have a Batman drawing here somewhere. Let me see if I probably do. There's a Batman drawing. One. Yep. When did I draw this? This was a while back. This was September last year. I think I drew this in a coffee shop. Just whatever. Um, I probably have more. Oh, here's Batgirl, Cassandra Cain. When did I draw this? This was May of last year. Oh my god, it's more than almost a year old. And I think I have one more. Do I have one more? There. Boom. I really like this one. I had a lot of fun drawing this one. This is Batman and Robin. I did like a weird. You'll see a little blur effect in the line work. It's an effect I saw from T.K. Wilson. I just want to try it on this, and I redrew the. It's sort of like Final Fantasy inspired Batman. That's why all the their costume looks like really like ornate and overwrought. I had a lot of fun drawing this one. When was this? This was March of last year. So this is literally a year old. Anyway, just sharing. Batman, since we were talking Batman. Anyway, back to the non-Batman. Yeah, when I think of like, I've been reading. God, I think I've been reading. I think I've read all the Batman in the last 10, 15 years. And I've even read some of the stuff that happened in the 90s, like Contagion and No Man's Land, and Gotham gets hit by earthquakes all the time, and poison gas, and all these crazy crazy things happen there constantly. But it's interesting to see it. If you're a comics reader long enough, you're gonna start seeing things go in cycles, and go through weird phases of like grim and gritty. I feel like Batman has this. He has phases where uh he's completely alone, and he's detectiving on his own, and it's like this whole dark grim and gritty thing. And then he has these phases where it's expansive. It's like family. You meet all the Robins. You meet new characters. We go all over the world. It's really interesting to see the character go up and down that thing. I think the same thing has started to happen to Spider-Man with you're seeing it in all the characters as they start building out their own families of sub characters. So the Bat family it's gigantic between all the Robins, all the Batgirls, the Batwomen. There are two Batwomen, I think. The and then characters like Orphan, Nightlighter. What's his name? The guy in the yellow. I think his name is The Signal. That's his name. The Signal. It's just it's crazy how many things come up over time. And then the Spider family has really built out. You're seeing it in like Miles Morales and Spider-Verse. Honestly, the thing that I wish would get more attention was the Super family. Like, there was this nice moment of expansion there during the death of Superman in the 90s where we really got some good time with Steel and Cyborg Superman and gosh, who else was there? Supergirl, the clone Superboy, Con-El, Connor Kent. But it could be stronger, more Crypto the Superdog. I wonder if that should be that dark. I'll modulate it later. We'll see. Now we do the pants. The pants are this sort of brown, correct? Yeah. There we go. That's a nice brown. I really, really love these brushes. Like, if you're using Procreate and you want to do watercolor stuff, I really recommend Max Ulickney's brushes. These are spectacular. They get the feeling down really well, and I think a critical with a watercolor brush is it shouldn't always do what you want. It should misbehave here and there as a brush. Because absolute control destroys the effect you want with watercolor. You want it to feel a little random. Boom. Let's go for here. And see how much faster it's going now that I've done all the masking stuff. It's just coming together really quickly. I feel that way about penciling and inking. Like, you start penciling and it's just... It takes so long. But if you do your pencils right, like, the inking goes a lot faster. Everything just sort of flows faster. Okay, so that's that. Now we go for the kid's shirt. What's his? Red? It's a red. I see why I did that. This is probably gonna be his color throughout the graphic novel. Kind of his identifying color. And it's gonna tie into because there's a character called the Red Thunder who plays a bigger role later on. And I need them to harmonize. There we go. Boom. Let's clean this up. What's up, Sir Joshington? Welcome, welcome. We're just feel free to lurk. We are just drawing and hanging. So I don't know, you probably didn't hear, but this is page 5 of the graphic novel. I'm right now finishing off page 5 and 6. So that's sort of what's on the docket here. And I'm doing them in this watercolory style using Max Ulickney's watercolor brushes. So that's the main stuff you missed. There was a Batman tangent, but really all you have to do to get a huge Batman tangent out of me is just to mention Batman. I am very, very I have a lot to say about him. A lot to say about all the super peoples. I mean, you'd think after all this time, like, and all the awesome manga and graphic novels I've read, that I'd leave the superheroes behind, but I still love them. They're so well written. They keep getting better every year. So as much as I love the Persepolises and the Watchmen. Well, Watchmen's superhero. The Invisibles and all these other things. I just can't keep coming back to them capes and tights. I can't help it. Thank you, Joshington. Yeah, no, it's gonna be simple colors, and then we're gonna sort of ground everything with this purplish gray later on. That's sort of the style I'm using for this. And it's a big contrast to the previous page. I don't know, maybe I should show it. I'll show it. This is page 3. And it's very, very crazy and shiny and all that stuff. And then it turns to page 4. And it looks like this stuff. So as you can see, that's the stylistic shift that's going on in the book. And I wanna keep doing that throughout. So we're gonna do very simple colors and watercolors, humanistic and light, and then contrast that with like super shiny, hyper rendered stuff. And I like the idea of mixing those two styles. It's kind of like when you hear an acoustic guitar in a techno song. You know what I mean? It teases different parts of your brain. I want the story to do that. So, two styles. Yeah. All right. So that's that. And I need something for the socks. Give me this. We'll do the gray again. But we'll do it a little lighter. Like this. That shouldn't be that dark. Let's lighten it up a bit. Like that. There we go. I just need to give myself headroom for when we put the shadows in. You can't go too dark because you want to save that. In the same way that if you're doing an oil painting, you want to not go too light and save the light end so that the highlight has a maximum effect. And same thing with watercolors. You want to preserve the dark end for when you want to really punch the reader in the face, the viewer. All right. Okay, so that's that. I'm just gonna clean up a little more of the the flesh tones here. Make sure the whites of the eyes are preserved, some of the teeth. And then we're going to go to the fun part, which is shadows. All right. Throw a new layer in. And what did I use? I think I used sort of a... Let's get that color. I think I used sort of a purplish gray. Yeah, something like that. Let's make it a little darker. And I'm gonna make sure I have the detail brush, this one. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay. Here we go. So what I'm doing is I'm basically drawing with the shadow shapes. We're gonna keep that. And this is gonna give this is gonna anchor the whole page together. There we go. What am I drinking there? I am drinking coffee. I have a cutoff at 4 p.m. I'm not allowed to drink coffee after 4 p.m. So I'm getting my coffee in before then. I love coffee. I have like 3 or 4 cups a day. I got a Ninja coffee machine there where I can put together some freshly ground coffee for my cups and not rely on instant. I also like instant, but you know, nothing beats a freshly brewed, freshly ground cup of coffee. It's delicious. Are you guys drinking right now? Like anything? I'm curious if you guys are having. I wonder if anyone watches this stream and like drinks beer or alcohol or something. I'm just curious. You know, some artists love alcohol. It's their thing. I'm not a big fan myself. I'm not a big drinker. I used to be back in high school, but totally don't do that anymore. Coffee and seltzer. Seltzer's good. I like seltzer. I like soda, but that might be. I grew up with soda. It's just we drank so much of it in the Philippines, so it's a big deal. I know it's not like the healthiest thing in the world, but it's delicious. Silver Phantom says, "I'm eating mac and cheese right now, lol." Enjoy, good sir. Mac and cheese, yum. You're making me hungry. I like mac and cheese. That's I didn't have much mac and cheese growing up, but being here in the US, um, you know, mac and cheese is a big thing here. So you get to try all sorts of delicious concoctions. They have I had a burger from the Melt Shop, which is, oh my god, it was a burger with a it was a burger, but the buns were mac and cheese that were like fried and turned into. It was like ridiculously decadent. It was delicious, but too much. um, yeah, that was fun. All right, this is looking good. I think I can leave this panel alone now for a second. I'm trying not to spend too much time. It's really my personality often tempts me to overdo things, but I'm trying to pace myself so I don't overdo it. You could. I've spent like months on one painting, you know. So you can do that with any comics page. You can spend forever on it if you wanted to. And I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to keep it loose and light and just otherwise the story loses its momentum and then you're trapped. You're trapped with a stale story. So I'm trying to keep it that. And also if you over render something, it becomes a little clinical. It loses some of that life. I think that's the advantage of working at speed. You really get the rhythms in. You get the that natural musicality that comes with working fast. The rhythms of your artwork. But then also there's that if you're working on something slowly, there's also the pleasure in seeing something that's been thought out, um, and really put through the rigors of testing and deep consideration and everything. I don't know. I think both options are valid. I just want to get more done, so I'm trying not to overdo things. By the way, is anyone excited for Moon Knight? It comes out this Wednesday, and I'm really really looking forward to it. It's on Disney Plus, this new Disney Plus show. He's probably the most DC like character that the MCU is gonna introduce. I'm really curious how they play with all that, because he's got a rich backstory. Lots of Egyptian mythology, lots of bounty hunters and blood and chains, and multiple personality disorder, and there's a lot with Moon Knight. It's gonna I think it's gonna be fun. I hope they do it well. All right, okay. See how the shadows are kind of grounding it. So I'm doing it all now. Oh my gosh, it's already been an hour. Sorry, I usually keep these streams going for just an hour, but I'm gonna. If you guys are cool with it, I'm gonna keep going for a little longer. Curious but not optimistic about the show. I love the 2012 run by Warren Ellis, but I feel kind of burned out on the MCU right now. Um, I also love the 2012 run with Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey. That was peak Moon Knight for me. I also liked some of the Jeff Lemire run recently. I guess it wasn't that recent, but it had art by Greg Smallwood, who does some beautiful pencil work. Um, it's really beautiful stuff. Jeff Lemire, oh my God, there's one writer with an insane amount of momentum. I just read his Primordial the other day, his image series about it's about Laika and Abel and the animals of the space program, right? It was this whole sci-fi thriller thing, but Lemire really knows how to put momentum in a story and keep you reading. He's just so good at that. But anyway, Moon Knight. Moon Knight is. I hear good things about the current run with Jed McKay, but I don't know. I'm waiting for it to. I'm basically trade waiting it at this point. But I hear good things about it. I hear good things about that and his Black Cat run right now. What I'm getting tired of Marvel. Disney needs to slow down. Well, I can sympathize with that. I'm not tired honestly because I'm a super, you know, fanatic. Uh but I will say what's nice about their stuff is they keep changing shifting styles and genres. So, you know, at least you're not getting the same flavors over and over. I still haven't watched the latest Batman movie, which I've heard some good things about, but I didn't. I decided not to go to the theaters to watch it because I felt like, oh, I feel like I've read this before and I've seen it before already. Like it's that kind of you know, it's just the same flavors over and over. So I don't know. Um, I'm hoping Moon Knight does a good job with it. I'm also watching. I don't know if you guys what you guys are watching these days, but lately I've been watching this Apple TV show called Severance, which is this really creepy sort of corporate thriller. The high concept is there's a procedure which allows people to have like a spatial separation in their memories between what they remember at work versus what they remember at home. And so there's something called the severed floor in this company, and these people, the people who work there, remember nothing of the outside world. And the people in the outside world, when they leave work, they remember nothing of work. Um, and it's really cool because the premise itself, I don't want to spoil anything, but once you start digging into it, it starts to beg a lot of like philosophical questions. It's a really interesting show. Brain food. Westworldish without like the crazy high budget of Westworld, but um, in terms of like being a mind bender, it's Westworldish. I'm also watching this other show, another Apple TV show written by Christopher Miller and Phil Lord, the guys who did Spider Verse. and the show's called The After Party, and it's this murder mystery set after a high school reunion where one of the characters dies, and it's Rashomon style where you go sort of you interview all the characters, you get to know each one, and you see the events of the evening through their lens, through their personal, recollection. And each character has a completely different genre of movie associated with them. Like one of them is like a musical, sees the night as like a musical. Another one of them sees it as like this Alfred Hitchcockian thriller. Another one sees like a rom com. It's a really funny and interesting show. A very cool formalist experiment. So yeah, I recommend that. The After Party. Very forgettable name though. Like but it's got some good people in it. It's got John Ralphio from Community, if you guys are Community fans. I really No, not Community, sorry. From Parks and Rec. Yeah, if you guys are fans of that show. I also love Community though. That's a good show. What shows are you guys watching? Let me know in the chat. Cuz I'm almost done with After Party, and Severance is, a weekly affair, so suggestions are welcome. Oh boy. All right, I think we're going on the home stretch here with the page. I'm looking at the page on the on the YouTube screen. I'm like, interesting. It looks a lot lighter there than it does to me on the iPad. I don't know. Might be some weird interpolation thing. Nope. That wasn't what I wanted to do. So there. So yeah, this is the moment when the dad reveals to the kid that he used to draw as well, and the kid's really happy to see that he's not alone in the family as having like these artistic inclinations. Okay. Boom. And lastly, this super tight area. I'm gonna draw a little shadow here where the hand and the ballpoint pen sort of mix. All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a few touch-ups. Let me move this down here. I need a thick, opaque color thing. I'm gonna do that here. I'm gonna start coloring some of those crayons. And let's get this red ball pen properly colored. Boom. Oof, I didn't account for the pen and the kid's shirt sort of blending together. Well, gonna have to do some. I think it's clear. It's still visible, right? I think so. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm not gonna overthink it too much. All right, we're more or less in the same zone. I might come back to this a little. Oh, one last thing to do. I like doing a very light red over the nose area because it gives the characters a bit of life. Some cheeks and then the fingers here. You know, you see blood at the extremity, so you want like just a hint of it there if you can muster it. It adds a lot of life to things. Just gonna tamp that down a bit. There we go. Whoops. I have to be like super duper light to touch with this stuff. Otherwise it's gonna look like lipstick or something, or makeup. Whoops. There we go. Notice I'm at half opacity already. It's just the brush is very flowy in terms of like letting the pigment out, so just being very light with it. Just a hint of like flushing, you know, a flush of blood on the ears and a little on the nose. Whoops. Definitely here in the fingers, I want some blood in there. Just under the skin there. And that's it for now. I'm gonna leave this. Obviously, still have to do this page. I'm probably gonna have both done by the end of the day. But I think I'm gonna call that a wrap for this stream. Hope you all got some good drawing done. We're almost at the an hour and a half, I think, into the stream. So, yeah, hope you're all having a good Sunday. I'll see you next week, probably, for another stream. And yeah, have a good one. Peace.